Welcome, traders, to this week's weekly analysis with Apex Traders. We're going to focus probably on three pairs this week. And as you can tell, I'm speaking rather than typing because I want to give you more of an in-depth idea of what goes through my brain as I'm marking up my charts for the week and I prepare to take trades during the week. So, for those of you who are not with Apex Traders, some of this will not make any sense to you. That's completely fine. This is mainly geared towards my personal group of students. We have about 60 students that joined within the last 2 months. And so far, they've learned concepts that are completely different from what almost 90% of the trading world teaches. And this is why we have high win rates. We have people getting funded money through professional prop firms. And this is why overall the success rate is higher. So as I'm going through this, if it doesn't make sense, you can always feel free to join up with us, ask questions. Don't take these as trade ideas because we follow specific confirmations before we enter any positions. So let's go ahead and get started with Euro USD on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, this last week we had some pretty strong bearish momentum moving to the downside. And now we're having a pullback scenario. Now, if this is going to continue with this stronger lower time frame downtrend, my assumption is we would see it pull back a little bit higher to around the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. And it looks to me we're probably around the 38.2 retracement level, sitting inside a key level. So if we take our Fibonacci retracement tool and drag it down, yep, there we are, sitting perfectly at the 38.2 level. So my assumption typically is when we get pullbacks like this, I like to trade around the 50% or the 61.8. So my assumption for this, which keep in mind, it doesn't matter at the end of the day what I think, it matters what the market's going to show us. But we could be getting a possible compression up to the 61.8 level before we see the market make its full move to the downside. Within this compression area, there will be trade opportunities because if we look at our current level, it is about a 50 pip range. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities. Most likely you would trade off of our lower levels so that you can catch these stronger impulse moves within inside our compression, and then we'll get a bigger move to the downside. Now that's just a possible idea. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Specifically because we are sitting within a perfect key level right now, okay? We're sitting within the zone, which is potentially giving us a trade setup. Now, just because price is sitting within a zone doesn't mean we immediately buy or sell, okay? The objective here would be looking to sell. If price doesn't give us what we need, we can't pull the trigger. We need to be patient and wait for a new setup. So in this section right here, you can see we're possibly getting a fake out right now, okay? So retail traders have right here, you can clearly see this was a support level, which price then almost turned into a resistance, came back up, right? But this is a level that retail traders, you can see how price comes down to this level multiple times. Retail traders are eyeing this level right now. And many of them decided to sell right here. And they've now been stopped out as price broke out, right? Hit their stop losses. And because of this breakout, many traders are starting to buy right here. What we're looking for, as we like to stay away from what 90% of the trading world does, this is the reason that we have such high win ratios, is because we ignore what the 90% does. We're going to be looking for a scenario where price could push even further to the downside, right? Or could begin a possible compression move up to a higher retracement level. So ultimately right here, what I'm going to be looking for is a sell opportunity. You can see we already have a fake out right here. Wonderful fake out, which has possibly, if you think about it, there could be two possible fake outs so far. So here's one fake out based on this retail level. Here's the overall fake out based on this retail level. And so we're sitting with inside a fish pool at this moment. Retail investors are getting eaten alive. We're going to wait for our confirmations, which would be price exiting our zone, giving a quick pullback or retest, and then dropping to the downside. My first target on this trade, if I am going to place a trade at this level, assuming price does give an opportunity, my first target would be this zone right down here. So if we do take it from the edge of this zone down to here, that's about 35 pips. If you do take it to about the middle of the zone, it'd give you about a 50 pip trade. Now, price could possibly, and this is what we look for, we have to watch price action to understand what's going to take place. Price could bounce with inside the zone a bit and ultimately just push up right to this higher zone up here. Patience plays. We're just going to need to wait to see what happens. But overall, I am going to be looking for sells on Euro USD. Looks like we've broken structure here. And so possibly going to have some sort of pullback, maybe up to a higher level before we'll get some opportunities. But this is the current one that I'll be looking at. Let's go ahead and take a look at Gbp Jpy, which again is one of my favorite pairs. And just check out all of these previous markups that I've had and all of the opportunities that have been given. This works like clockwork. This is almost exact. Price comes back to our zone, goes up, comes down to a zone, goes up. So plenty of buy opportunities over, this has been the last month and a half or so. So this pair has been phenomenal for traders that were going long. Now, if we take a look, let's actually get rid of these zones and start somewhat fresh on this. Let's kind of see where we're at right now. So we can clearly see here we had a zone which gave a very strong fake out. We had our fake out right here. But at the same time, price seems to be possibly losing some momentum. We could be getting ready to see some sort of reversal in our trend. If we were to consider this section here as being a part of our higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, this previous higher low is broken, possibly putting us into somewhat of a downward trend. But so far sitting within this range, we can't do too much. We can trade this range on a smaller time frame, which is great, but I want to see ultimately, is price going to create a new zone here or here, trap out retail traders and give us an opportunity to the downside? So for right now, because price has been sitting within this current zone, and in fact has eliminated most of the contracts and orders within this area, we're not going to be looking to take any sort of trade off of this area. Now, there is a zone here at the top that I will be paying attention to, and this could be a possible trade scenario, a sell for later on in this week. So we just need to see how this plays out. Right now, we're not sitting within any sort of opportunity. So we're going to leave it alone and just wait to see how this plays out. This is our next level of interest, in which we could have a possible trade to the downside as price begins a downward trend. But again, price action confirms everything. If price breaks above this level, then we actually would have a possible zone created here in which we could buy off later on. So This pair, to me, this week, we're not certain if much is going to happen unless we see maybe in tonight's or tomorrow's London session price push up to this key level. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Ucad. So far, you can see that although we were in some heavy downward pressure, downward momentum, looks like price has actually started to move up. As you can see, this is a complete mirror of Euro USD, which is showing us that the US dollar is pretty much the one that's governing these pairs at the moment. Okay. Right now, just like on Euro USD, we're possibly sitting within a potential buy zone. So what I'm going to do on this is actually drop down to the hourly time frame to see if I can finesse these key levels a little better. And here we go. All right, perfect. So here's a key level that I'm going to be paying attention to. We'll see if price pushes into this level later on tonight or tomorrow. As I take my Fibonacci tool and draw from bottom to top, I can see here that we are in a possible compression channel before price will reach our 61.8 level and explode to the upside. So lower time frame trades, we've got two scenarios here. Here you've got one zone in which we're going to look to sell. And I'm going to look to sell this. Keep in mind, this would be a counter trend trade on the higher time frame, but it is going with this 1 hour trend. So we could get a possible sell here to this key level of about 70 pips. And then from here, obviously, we would look for the overall move to the upside to continue with the 4 hour trend, which has broken structure and could possibly start moving to the upside. So these are my ideas for Ucad this week. Again, we need to be patient, wait for price action to tell us what to do. And most importantly, to my traders, to those that trade with me and have learned to trade the way that I trade, which is we stay away from retail concepts. You need to think like a bank. Where are you going to trap out a retail trader? In fake outs at their support or resistance levels. So if you're trading the way that we trade, always wait for the fake out. Wait for the fake out. Then you're going to jump in with a precision entry, tight stop loss, and you'll be able to collect a very, very good risk to reward ratio. Okay. So possible fake out could be something like this. Then price comes down here, fakes out retail traders before we see our overall buy to the upside. Some key retail levels to keep track of. Obviously, this level right here. So here is a retail level, which is their support or resistance level. As price fakes it out, we'll drop into our basically institutional order block. This is what we're going to wait for. Price drop into the order block before we give it a nice buy to the upside. And then one other retail level just to keep your eye out on would be this right here. And this is where right now, as we're speaking, we could see this retail level get faked out. Price will drive up into our order block, faking out retail investors, hitting their stop losses. They will then place buy orders to buy the breakout, hoping that price does something like this. But we know that price is most likely going to collect the orders in this area and drop further to the downside. Hopefully this weekly analysis gave you somewhat of a better idea of what I look for when trading the markets. It's very, very simple. We need to let price show us what's going to happen. We don't trade based on what we want to happen because it's never a perfect scenario where, some traders look at a level like this resistance level and immediately think, okay, it's touching resistance. It automatically needs to drop. That is not the case. We need to wait for price action to see what price is showing us it's doing. So overall, USD CAD, we're going to be looking for a sell into possibly a bigger buy. Euro USD, overall, let's go to this 4-hour time frame again. We're going to be looking for this quick sell into possibly a long-term buy. And then GBP JPY, we need to see price reach this key level up here to know if we're going to continue with our uptrend or are we actually going to reverse, break through these lows here and put ourselves into a downtrend. If that's the case, we'll look for new order blocks being created and prepare to enter sell positions probably in the latter part of the week.